I'd like to go over the basic present value equation refresher. Present value equals future value divided by 1 plus r to the t power. T or n, we use those interchangeably. It's the number of time periods. So there's 4 parts to this equation: present value, future value, interest rate, and number of time periods. If we know any of those 3, we can solve for the 4th. And if you're using a financial calculator, be sure to remember the sign convention. Your present value and future value cannot be the same sign. One must be a negative and one must be a positive. I've found that students that are having a hard time with the concept of time value of money often do so because it's not clear to them that given an opportunity rate or a discount rate, let's say a 10% opportunity rate and $100, $110 will be received in 1 year, is equivalent to having $100 today. Or $90.90 1 year ago, or $82.64 2 years ago. So compounding and discounting are nothing more than using a set of formulas to find equivalent values at any 2 points in time. And what this means in reality is that a rational person will be indifferent between receiving $100 today and $110 in 1 year if the interest rate is 10%. That's true because this individual could take the $100 today and invest it and have $110 in 1 year. Or she could borrow $100 today and repay the loan with $110 in 1 year. So a corollary to this whole concept is that one can't or shouldn't add, subtract, multiply, or divide money values in different time periods unless those values are expressed in equivalent terms, and that means at a single point in time. We'll go over this again in class, but this is probably the most important thing to remember from this chapter. Let's look at computing the discount rate, or the interest rate, or what we call the opportunity cost of capital, or the cost of capital. We're going to be calling it many different things. The implied interest rate. Many times we want to know what the implied interest rate is on an investment. You can see what they're offering you, but you want to know really what the implied rate is. So let's rearrange the basic equation and solve for r. When we do, we see that this is the formula. The interest rate equals the future value divided by present value, all raised to the 1 divided by t minus 1 to get rid of the 1, so you end up with a rate. If you're wanting to use formulas, you'll want to make use of the y to the x key or the 1 divided by x key on your calculator. Okay, let's look at another implication, another term for the implied rate of interest, which is the internal rate of return. That is the interest rate that makes the present value of the cash flows equal, the net present value of the cash flows equal to 0. And it equates the present value and cash flows of an investment opportunity to the rate of return. The implied interest rate on an investment is often referred to as the internal rate of return. So we have solved so far for the interest rate and for the payments. Now let's solve for the number of periods. You know, we can solve for the amount of time it will take for a sum of money to grow to a certain value. We know the interest rate, we know the present value and the future value, and we want to see how long will it take for this investment to grow. So that's what we're doing.